The Buddha, before he became the Buddha, was incarnated as a creature of compassion many times. This tale is one of his incarnations. In ancient days, there was a king who liked to hunt, and he liked to eat when he hunted. But his people, the farmer, the tradesman, the homesteaders, and the holy men were not happy about it, because the king made them participate. He had them drive the animals through the woods into the bows of his huntsmen. So this is why the fields were not plowed, and this is why the shops were not open, and this is why the children were not educated and the gods were not properly honored. And so, to get back to the business of actually living, the people conferred, and they created a stockade in the woods. And they drove 2 herds of deer inside and closed the stockade gate. And then they went to the king to tell them what they had done. "Sire," they said, "now, look, your hunters can have a much easier time of it. They can get food for your table, and we can go back to being productive members of your society." And the king said, "Oh, how disappointing. Well, I'll miss the excitement of the hunt, but there is great wisdom here. Thank you. I will just hunt the deer in the stockade. You can go back to work. Thank you." And so the people went back to work. And the king looked down into the stockade, and he saw 2 leaders of these herds, 2 magnificent stallions with hooves that were obsidian, bodies that glowed golden and red. And they were crowned, as all forest kings are, with antlers reaching for the sky. And one was known as the Banyan deer, and the other was known as the branch deer. "These 2 forest kings," he said, "let no one slay them. When we hunt, we shall take only meat from their herds." And so it was. And every day the king and the hunters came to the stockade, and every day the deer would see them coming, and panic, and freak out, and run around, and fall all over each other, and break their legs, and break their necks, and suffer terribly from panic, as they could not get away from the arrows in this very small space. And every day the arrows flew, and every day deer died in living terror. Until one day, the Banyan deer came to the branch deer and said, "Brother, this fear that our people are going through is as bad as the loss of one of our herds every day. Let us hold a lottery. One day, a deer from my herd will be selected by lot to stand for the hunters. And the next day, a deer from your herd will be selected by lot to stand for the hunters. In this way, only one deer will die, and our people will not live in constant terror. We will not be able to keep our people from dying, but we will do what we can to alleviate their suffering." And the branch deer agreed. So the next day, the king and the hunters went to the stockade, and they looked down, and they saw a single trembling deer waiting to be slain. The king was astonished, and he said, "The deer kings are very wise. They have thought of a way in impossible circumstances to help their people." And his brow grew troubled. But only one arrow flew, only one deer died, and no other deer were injured. And it went this way for many days. Only one arrow flew, only one deer died, and no other deer were injured. Until at last, the lottery fell to a doe who was soon to give birth. And so she went to her leader, the branch deer, and said, "Branch deer, the lot has fallen to me, but I am soon to bear a fawn. Once the child is born and weaned, I would gladly take my place before the hunters. But if I go now, 2 will die instead of 1. The lottery says that only one deer should die a day. Please, sire, spare my child." But the branch deer said, "This is impossible. The law is the law. The lot has fallen to you, and you must go before the hunters." In despair, the doe went to the Banyan deer and pleaded her case, and the Banyan deer agreed with her. 2 should not die, because the law is the law. Go, be in peace. Another will stand for you today. The doe bounded away in relief. So when the hunters came to the stockade, they saw the Banyan deer waiting to be slain. "Get the king," they said. And when the king arrived, he looked down in the stockade and he said, "Banyan deer, You know that I have saved you from the hunt. Go and send another to stand in your place. But the Banyan deer said, I cannot. The lottery fell to a doe with a fawn. It is not right that two should die instead of one. I have come to take her place. What? Said the king. You would give your life for others? I would, great king. I shall. Oh. The king tugged his hair and wrinkled his brow, and he thought. At length he said, this is wisdom indeed. King must care for the least of his subjects. This is not something I have been good at. So, in payment for your wisdom, a teacher's fee, if you will, I shall allow you and your herd to go free from my hunt, now and forevermore. Banyan Deer shook his head. O king of men, I cannot go. For if I and my herd leave now, what will happen to the other herd? I came here to take the place of a doe with a fawn who is from the other herd. If I and my herd leave now, she and her unborn child would immediately be slain. What would be the point of my freedom if it came at that cost? You would put your safety and your herd's safety up for a herd, even though it is not none of your own. You will not leave? I would put my safety up for those, even though they are not of mine. The king tugged his hair and he wrinkled his brow, and he thought. At length he said, this is very great wisdom indeed. I see that you will not be in peace if any of your kind suffer. Very well. Take both herds and go. But the Banyan Deer shook his head. O king of men, I cannot go, for if our herds are free, then what will happen to the other 4 feet of the forest? Well do we know the terrors of the hunt, and now it would just fall to others. What would be the purpose of our freedom? How could we be at peace, knowing that it came at that price? The king tugged his hair, and he wrinkled his brows, and he crossed his arms, and he thought. At length he said, all right, very well. The price of your wisdom is steep. All right, all forest creatures on 4 legs are free from my hunt forevermore. But the Banyan Deer shook his head. O king of men, I cannot go, for do you not see the birds in the skies? If we go free, then they will be trapped by your snares and your arts and all of your nets, and they will live in terror. And great king, I cannot go. I cannot be at peace if I know that those birds are suffering because of my freedom. Oh, and the king tugged his hair, and he wrinkled his brow, and he crossed his arms, and tears swelled up in his eyes. And he thought. Like he said, very well, Banyan Deer. Your logic is impeccable, and I can follow your line of reasoning. So, from this day forward, no birds, no woods forest, no deer, all free from the hunt, for now and evermore. Banyan Deer shook his head. He looked down at the edge of the rippling stream, and he said, O king of men, I cannot go. Can you not see? Fine! Snapped the king. Fish too! You drive a hard bargain, Banyan Deer, but very well, so you may have peace. The fish too. Now hear this. All creatures that walk on 4 legs, on 2 legs, or fly, or have fins, are free from my hunt for now and evermore. And the king turned to Banyan Deer and said, great one, but are you now at peace? The Banyan Deer said nothing, for he was weeping tears of joy, because he had taught a human king compassion, and there is no greater joy than this. The Banyan Deer is the Buddha. I would like to think that the Buddha is not just a single soul incarnated many times, but is instead a fragment of the great soul that can surface in all of us. In this way, this fable offers hope. For the Buddha, kindness, compassion and right action can surface in any one of us.